It's taking a little while to prepare the demonstration, but in the meanwhile, I will engage you with some very, very interesting things. As Swamiji just started off with this whole concept of Rishi, Devata and Chandas, we're going to go a little bit of understanding. So, if you remember, in the morning, Swamiji talked about how knower, the process of knowing and the known, right? Now we're going to go a little bit in terms of the science and, how it's going to, how it connects with our brain and our performance, and why there needs to be an education regarding consciousness. I mean, it's not just about theoretical knowledge of consciousness, but an experiential aspect of consciousness, that one experiences consciousness every day. So, I'm going to get started with some of the slides. In the meanwhile, as Rohitji's, we are getting prepared in terms of the demonstration. Let me quickly prepare everyone about what consciousness-based education is. We've had some discussion about consciousness, but I'll just quickly. Consciousness, the word basically has many connotations, but the general idea is the awareness. Am I conscious of your presence there? That value of this ability of being conscious is the consciousness. Now, there needs in every person, I mean, here we are talking about student and teacher, but every person is a student and teacher in this modern age, because you have to learn everything, every day, something new. A new technology, a new way of doing things arise every moment. So, this consciousness-based education, the education which has its basis in consciousness, is a scientific way, it's a scientific process to develop the full potential of the brain. The brain, now we're going to see how you start to say full potential of the brain, and we're going to start this discussion of how much potential of the brain are we actually in use of and what's actually going on. But that's what our endeavor is. This is what we're aiming to do. Now, Swamiji also discussed about unified field. If there are any theoretical physicists, they have seen this kind of diagram that there's a lot of discoveries in this area, that how gravitation and all the fields and particles are all being unified at theoretical level. That all of this together, some way, they are all coming together as one field. Mathematically, it is very well proved. Everyone believes that there is such a thing. I mean, obviously, you can't experimentally test it because you need some. I asked, I think they said you need a particle accelerator of the size of the solar system or something to see it. But the fact is that there is something. No one disagrees with this. But what do you do with this? Fascinating thing about it is that the laws of physics brings this here, whereas our consciousness, our mind, our ability to go to that deeper level of thinking, takes us to that field, from normal thinking level to that deep level from where all thoughts emerge. Now, how do you do this? On an everyday, we are thinking, this is our classical physics level. Then we go deeper, analyze, the much more deeper level of our mind, which is a quantum mechanical level. Even more deeper is the theory of unified field, and that's the deep level where the unified field exists. And this unified field, I mean, as I said, scientifically, all theoretical physicists agree about it. And we have now had many studies, or since 1970 studies on this meditation, and in the last 40 years meditation in terms of schools, colleges and universities, to see that the effect of this meditation, I mean, it's been validated by Nobel Prize winners like Brian Josephson and Ilya Prigozhin and Hans Selye. Now, we now discussed about consciousness, and the word education, even the words in Sanskrit word shiksha, both describe something which is about expressing something which is inside into the outer world. The word educare means to extract from within. Shiksha means to express. And this ability to express, educate, bring out the knowledge does not complete if you just look at a book and read it. It has to come from somewhere deep inside us. And that deep knowledge is what we are extracting, and this is what we want to get to. And that cannot come just at the level of thinking. It goes to that level of from where the knower is. You know, the book, the person, the process of reading. You know, in Sanskrit, the knower is called the rishi. The known or the object of knowledge is called the chandas. And the process of gaining knowledge or any process is called devata. And as Swamiji mentioned earlier, when all these three come together is the value of samhita, where all these three comes together. And consciousness-based education, see, we have a lot of attention on this aspect, the known. We have lots of good, so the curriculums developed, lots of good process, or process of learnings being changed and all that. But the knower, what will you teach if the knower is not ready to learn? What will you teach if the knower is sleeping? What will you teach? Right? So, to be able to learn, to be aware and alert is important. And that alertness and that awareness is deep within us. And that is what consciousness-based education brings out. And that's only possible when more and more aspects of our brain is available to us. And this is what consciousness-based education, basic and advanced technique bring out. They don't just stay at the level where you just, first of all, to go and access that level of the knower, and then express that value of the knowerness into the all aspects of our consciousness and knowledge and everything. Both these aspects have to be covered, and that's what consciousness-based education covers with the advanced techniques with. So, and when we talk about the brain, before I'm going to show you some demonstration and all that, our brain is changing all the time. Okay. 2 days ago, I came all the way here yesterday. Completely, my brain changed. Every time you do something, our brain changes. 70% changes of the brain connections change if you sleep and wake up. There's a lot of facts that I can keep throwing, but the point is, brain is a river, not a rock. It changes all the time. But that changing value, there's one thing which is incredible, which makes the brain more effective, which is its ability to function together, where all aspects of the brain come together and work, whether it's this part, this part, this part, this part. And that is what is available through integrated consciousness, integrated brain functioning. If you can look at this transcendental meditation, as Maharishi Yogi has been talking, which is part of our consciousness-based education techniques. In this, as you practice the meditation, the whole brain suddenly starts to have more and more of its reserves come into use. When you're not meditating, normal times, some part of the brain works. There's a great, you see the logo on top, it says David Lynch. Anyone knows about David Lynch?
Yes.
Yeah, David Lynch is a great filmmaker. He just, blows the mind in terms of the creativity he does. But David Lynch practices this meditation. And he says if you have a golf ball-sized consciousness, you can't expect to create something which uses the full brain. You need something which uses the full brain to do the full development, complete usage of our abilities. And that's what we're endeavoring, this goal of meditation brings to. Now, very soon you will be able to see how this works. Now you see this, that in normal eyes closed, some parts of the brain are working together. But then when you're meditating, the whole brain suddenly integrates. And soon we'll have a live demonstration of how that works. And that's the beauty of consciousness. that it doesn't just work, it's not just localized, universalizes each experiences, where all aspects of our brain, there's an interesting example, it's like having a team, if you have a team with the best forward, the best defender, the best goalkeeper, the best playmaker, and all of that, but they don't communicate with each other. And then you have a team which is not the best, but they are slightly not less than the best, but they coalesce well, they communicate and coordinate well. You think team A will win or team B? Team B, right? Coordination is more important than having the best person. And the same thing happens with the brain. You have the best part, this is the CEO of the brain, which makes all the decisions. This is the reactionary part of the brain. This is your, speech, and this is your, all the grammar and everything. But all of this will function only if it all is coordinated. And that's what's important. So, this is before it, and this is, basically it makes the brain more integrated. As you can see, this integration of brain is very essential. The integration of brain is very essential, whether you believe in whether meditation works or not works. Well, if a person has an integrated brain functioning, if a person has all the parts of the brain working together, all these things happen. More transcendental consciousness. Anyone's heard of the word transcendental consciousness before? Okay. This word basically means an experience where it's sort of like a super consciousness where you are aware, you are alert, but you don't have any experience. It's like you're not asleep, you're just awake, but no thoughts at all. Ever felt like that?
Sure.
Ever felt like that? Even for a second, in 1 second. And the moment you felt it would have felt very good, right? That could be repeated. That is the fourth state of consciousness. And this experience is what develops when you meditate. And when you meditate regularly, that experience continues to be there through the day. And that also is greater awareness, great inner orientation, greater mind-body coordination, better moral reasoning abilities, all things good. As Swamiji said, of all the things which we really, really need is our creative abilities. More creative we are, much better we find solutions. Worst of our situation, we say, I'll find a way out. Somehow, there'll be a way, right? That ability to find a solution, the ability to kind of be creative, that comes from when you have that infinite possibilities available inside you. And so that develops inside it, the anxiety is reduced, emotional stability. There was a very interesting interview Swamiji had yesterday where the reporter was asking, there's this emotional quotient, and spiritual quotient. And these things are very important. And these things are seen as you're meditating, this also develops. And these are all, and again, students who practice this, we have enough evidence across these years to say that whoever practices gains at least 10% more better grades than those who don't meditate. And they don't just rote learn, they actually understand. There's a clear understanding of concepts and all that which develops. Now, before I get into this technical thing, but I'll just quickly explain and then we'll start preparing the demonstration. Now, this is how EEG looks like. Anyone's heard of electroencephalography before this? Okay. This is EEG, electroencephalography. This is what we'll see very soon. But I'll show you a graphic so you won't see this. I'll show a little bit of this, but more. So this is how EEG looks like. This is all the different points on the brain, and usually a cap sort of thing which you'll see. And you'll see all these different waves. You see this? Now, here are all the waves from front, back, again front, So all these parts, right? Front left, front right, back, So all these waves. In the same way, this is during meditation. Now you see this? What do you see the difference between this and this? Anyone can say? Lot more activity. Other than lot more activity, anything else you notice?
The girls have more.
Huh?
The front
there's a greater frontal coherence. Now, the word here is coherence. You see this? From here to here, you cannot pretty much say, there is a little bit of similarity, but not as much, where you can see very, very stark similarity. You see as if the patterns are matched right from top to bottom. Can you see that? This is called coherence. That is, the brain signals are becoming similar. That is, this part of the brain starts to work in the same way as this part of the brain. Again, you will say, "Arey, what is the big deal? This is next to here." No. This and this part of the brain, if anyone's from psychology background or neuroscience, they know that these are the farthest part of the brains to ever. They have to go right up to the corpus callosum and come back. So they are the farthest parts. Yet all of them are having similarity. That shows that the brain is working together. So let's quickly see. And this brain working together, this is what shows. We'll come back to this. Let's quickly set up the demonstration. Any questions as of now?
So what's the conclusion of it?
That's the conclusion. I'm not yet ended yet. Yeah.
That's all parts working similar. What does it mean?
Okay. So the brains, if they start working in a way that they are all similar, that all parts are working together, that means that they are. It's like you're not. See, whenever we are split in our mind, when you think that, oh, can I do this or can I do that? There are two different activities going on in our mind, competing for this energy and resources. When all brains are functioning almost having the same kind of signal, that means all the energy is put together for the same kind of activity.
Okay.
So let me quickly set up the demonstration. Fingers crossed, everything should work fine. All right. Here's a brain which is pretty nervous to sit in front of everyone. Yet you can see pretty impressively coherent. I don't know how could it be this coherent, but let me quickly show you how a raw signal looks like, just for understanding. Sorry. So I'm unable to show here, but you can see that in spite of him being very, very nervous, you see quite a bit of coherence. Now this is basically showing how different parts of the brain, this is front to the back, and all these parts, how much they are coordinated. And you will see that it becomes white. That means the whole brain is completely functioning together. Just close the eyes. And then you will see that it remains white for a longer period of time. And when his eyes are open, then it becomes less integrated. So this shows how integrated functioning of the brain works. So it's a pretty beautiful thing that you're able to see the coordinated functioning of the brain really easily and really quickly, thanks to modern technology. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful demonstration.
Fully scanning his brain.
Yes.
And you can understand like what is the type of thinking, thoughts, process is going on.
No.
That couldn't understand.
No. This is not. That's not our goal. Our goal is to see how integrated the brain functioning is. We are looking at, if anyone understands brain EEG and EEG signal science, basically we are only looking at coherence of brain functioning.
But is it possible to understand whether the mind is stable or not?
More white it is, that means it's more settled, more calmer, more stable.
What do red or yellow lines?
So basically, this color of the circle shows the different parts of the brain, the outer circle. These lines, one means, that is when it is white, that means the correlation between these signals is full, that is one. It's almost as the signal is the same, all brain is working together. And when it is red or no line at all, if there is no line at all, that means there is no connection at all. And if it's dark red, that means the connection is pretty weak, but still there's some connection, that is, there's some similarity of signal. So this basically shows, we can actually we now have the technology ready to create a report card. See, every day a student goes to school, every year he studies and comes out. And the only thing education completes is that how much he has memorized, how many books he's read. But does it prepare how calm he is, how prepared he is for handling this life situations? Does it show how much integration does he have to take whatever whatever is thrown towards him? This integration, the more integration of him at a longer period of time, during and outside of meditation, more especially to outside of meditation, I'm going to show you the slide for that, shows that a person is more integrated, and when they are more integrated, that means he can handle everything. His ability to learn is better, he can keep moving ahead. And that ability, that resilience starts to develop, and that shows that resilience, and that develops their mind-body coordination and all aspects of their life. So, Jai Gurudev.
So if he does chanting
So
or
there is no
something,
side
will it
effect of
increase?
these scannings and all? Nothing.
Yes?
If he chants, says Om or something, does the white light increase?
That's a very good question, actually. I have actually, that aspect of study is actually a great area of interest, and I've been studying a little bit. But yes, there is, I'm not specifically Om, but we have done studies on, say, listening to some Vedic literature and mantras. For example, when you listen to any mantras, so for example, Rigved, Samved, or and you close the eyes and just listen to it, the integration of brain increases, and it looks like you are meditating, even without meditating.
Right now, is it possible?
Huh?
And the percentage of mind we are
Okay.
using.
We'll have to see. Let me see. Let me try. I have some recitations, but see how
Yeah,
that.
we can see the lines, no?
Yeah.
Could it be any kind of chanting?
Well, as of now, I have tested with all the Sanskrit literature. Vishnu Sahasranam, Rigved, some of the mantras, and Samaved, and Rudrabhishek. These are three, four things I have tested on, and we have seen some good results. More results on people who have been meditating, less on who have not, because again, it doesn't matter whether you know Sanskrit or not. Again, it doesn't matter whether you know Sanskrit, but it's important to have that familiarity or that silence, because when those recitations happen, in the Vedic terminology, they say that Atma, the Vedas are the reverberations of the Atma. And when you are meditating, you are experiencing Atma. And so you are experiencing the vibrations of that Atma, the inner self, in the outer experience. Now, fascinatingly, if your brain is completely integrated, oftentimes people say, when they listen to the mantras, they'll say, man, I was listening to it from inside, though it was going on, but I was reciting it from inside. I had the mantras inside, not really hearing it from my ears. It's as if the body is resonating with it. So we could give it a try. I'm not guarantee anything.
Simply with
And
Om
if suppose
chanting
someone is
not
watching
much.
game,
Huh?
Simply
To a
with
different
Om
role.
chanting also.
playing game, that time distract.
Yeah. I have not tried with Om chanting, but we can see.
Okay, anything else?
But I also have to finish other slides. How much time do we have? I have to wrap up. So okay, I have to finish a couple more slides. Very important.
Yeah, fine.
Fine. Okay. So let me complete my slides, and then we'll discuss, and we'll go much deeper into all those discussions. So let me close this. Thank you so much, Rohitji.
कुछ मालूम नहीं चल रहा
It
है
was so beautiful.
कुछ मालूम नहीं चल रहा है
So it doesn't depend of language, yes?
You were experiments before also? That's all.
I don't think I've done with him before. He was.
But has he been practicing transcendental meditation?
Yes.
He has been, and how long?
कितने सालों से ध्यान कर रहे हैं आप?
7 years. 7 years or months?
7 वर्ष से
7 वर्ष. Do you have a before and after of his?
No. We wish. And we would like to do these studies. We are right now collecting a lot of data, and we would be able to do the after and before and all that kind of stuff. But yes, I'm going to show you something. So quickly going through this, as I said, this value of the knower is enlivened by this when you are meditating, and
the knower, the process of knowing, and the known are all actually aspects of our brain, and these are all different signals. Now going a little bit further, as we already went through some of the slides before, so this includes both the basic and advanced techniques. I'm going to quickly slip through some of the slides. Okay, yeah, this is one slide I want to quickly add. Now what you see here is that the integration during meditation remains the same, whatever years you have been meditating. But the integration outside of meditation continues to grow. You see this? And that means, that's the beauty of this technique, because you mastered the technique right away. And as you continue to practice, only thing required is to practice regularly. As you practice regularly, that experience starts to stabilize with all other activity. So that's a very beautiful thing, and the integration continues to grow in all our life, and the mentally, physically, more self-actualization, and there is better memory, better, less sickness. American Heart Association came out with a white paper in 2013 saying that transcendental meditation is the only thing cardiologists can prescribe for anyone with even a little bit higher blood pressure, even over 120 or 80, you can prescribe on TM. I don't know why don't any other doctors in India prescribe it, but so in the same way. Okay, now I'm going to move ahead to something very, very different and interesting. Now, you see this effect of meditation across the brain, right? One person meditating, his whole brain works together. Okay? Now, as the person starts to meditate, his integration is increased. But how does it influence the society? Now, in Vedic literature, especially Yoga Sutras, it says, Tat Sannidhau Vairatyam. In the vicinity of yoga, in the vicinity of ahimsa, real ahimsa is where you go beyond the thoughts into the transcendental level. That's at the level of ahimsa, all negative tendencies fall off. Vairatyam. Now, this advanced program of meditation, it includes the TM Siddhi program, which is part of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. They see that the integration of brain is quite high. You see this coherence? It's almost to full coherence. This high level of coherence is never seen. As you saw, coherence quite good with our dear Rohitji. A quick round of applause for him. Thank you. But this coherence for one person will spread to the whole society. This is one of our goals. This is one of the reasons we are here in terms of spreading it to schools, colleges, because we don't just want to teach people to meditate and just practice meditation. Acha, bahut badhiya, your brain is improving and all that. But one of the bigger reasons is that, one is that if a small group of people just practice this meditation, but if they practice the advanced program of this meditation, there is something called Maharishi effect. And how many of you heard of Maharishi effect before this? All right, people from Rishihood have already been aware of this. But Maharishi effect is a fascinating thing. They found that, you can see this slide here, square root of 1% of population is enough to create a highly significant statistical influence on the society. Square root of 1% of population. For example, say you have, how many students do we have? How many people are we here?
Around 70.
70. So 70 squared would be what? 4,900?
Yeah.
And 4,900 into 100 would be? 4,900, just add to our 2 zeros, right? 4,90,000. So just these 70 people, if they practice the advanced programs together in one place, the influence will be on almost 5 lakh people.
Oh my God.
To make an influence on the whole of India, you would need about 4,000, that's all. For the whole world, you would need a group of just 12,000, 10 to 12,000, that's it. Think about this, about the amount of money we spend on weapons and this and that. I'll tell you a very interesting research here. So as I said, this statistic comes from Meissner effect, which is a physics phenomenon.
Quantum physics.
Yes, where they bring when they cool a super cool a magnet, and they find that the magnetic field doesn't, as a super cooled any metal, then the magnetic field does not penetrate it. Now, in the same way, wherever they bring group of people meditating, crime rate suddenly starts to fall. This was a study done in Washington DC. This was, I think, July or August. July. So July, August 1990s. वहाँ पर they took about 4,500 people to meditate in Washington DC. They slowly built the size. They brought it from 500 up to 4,000, almost 4,000.
Fall down.
No, this dotted line is the size of the pyramid. The falling is the reduction of crime. So, as you see, the number of people meditating slowly was building up. And before the study started, they went to the police chief and said, listen, we are bringing this group together, and you should see a 10% reduction of your crime rate. The police chief was laughing off his chair and said, you seem very nice spiritual people. You should pray for snow, if at all he wants to crime to come down. Now, July, August, there's snow nahi hota. There's no snow in Washington DC in July, August. But as you see the numbers as they built up, the crime rate actually fell by 20%. This is not a story. This was repeated many times over.
Within how many days?
You can see 8 weeks. See, this number is they maintained for about a week here. So the maximum number they maintained for a week, which is about 3,500. But the square root of 1%, I think they would have cost around 2,000. And so they would have crossed somewhere around the 5th week. You can see that the crime rate falling around here, around the 10% mark. See this place? See this reduction? It started right there. So this has happened not just once. Now, as we go to the next slide, this was a study done during war in Lebanon. You see that Lebanon and Israel are at war right now. And every time, and there the group size was even smaller. You only needed 158. 158 of one village were meditating. And every time they brought that 158 were meditating, no one died. Every time that never happened, that did not happen, something happened. So that's what they meant by quality of life index, among many other things. And this was so incredible statistic. This was published in the Journal of Conflict Resolution of Yale. They tried to deny it and they could not. And they had to accept this paper that this is a statistically effective study. And this has been repeated many times over. As we go to the next slide, you see this many times, in Israel, in Utopia, which is America, in Lebanon, in Yugoslavia, Fairfield, USA, Netherlands, Washington, DC. All these places, these were studies done, and war and violence and crime was prevented. It is high time we do it here. I mean, we are the place from where all of this knowledge comes from. The Vedic tradition, Maharshi, the Shankaracharya tradition, the Vedic knowledge, it's all from here. And you can see all around the world we are introducing consciousness-based education. But I think the emphasis, or we are given the onus having this knowledge as our heritage and tradition. So we've been doing this all around the world, all these countries, but why not here? Why not at your place? Why not? How can we do it? How quickly can we create this? I mean, you can see how much crime and problems we have, but how can we stop this? Anyone's question?
I think, as per my opinion, once they are doing meditation, so they are going deep into their inside. So they start working consciously, what we say, whether what is good or not good. So they can make the difference between right and wrong. So accordingly they are proceeding, then automatically the right steps moving ahead on the right steps. Because like the mind starts functioning in a proper way.
Yes.
If you are meditating, then you can concentrate your mind. You can go to, it's my opinion.
Beautifully said. See, as I said, the brain should be functioning fully. I mean, we have a big brain, a beautiful brain. Why not make it functioning in a more integrated fashion? And more integrated fashion it functions, less crime, less problems, less, much better citizens we are.
True.
Any other points, any questions?
So do we know, like, can we come to know the percentage of brain working, functioning? By scanning that,
Yes.
can we come to know to what extent more integration means more functioning. But to what extent means, what is the percentage of brain?
I'll answer.
Okay.
Once again, I'll answer both the answers. Yes, please.
Being a faculty from Department of Management and hailing from one of the most ancient city of the India, Ujjain, almost 5,000 years old city of Ujjain. I come from that city, and we have a very famous Jyotirlinga, Lord Mahakaleshwar. That is south-oriented Jyotirlinga and the best place for meditation. I am just very brief, very in my mind, how to push the younger generation towards meditation and how to prevent their minimizing their screen time. Tell me any mantra.
All right. Can I this first?
Okay. All right. So let me first answer your question, and I'll answer yours. Both answers actually come together. Fascinating thing is have consciousness-based education as part of curriculum. Make students have meditation for their marks. As in, if they attend 80% meditation, they get 80% marks for the meditation program, for their consciousness-based consciousness department or consciousness subject every month. And now to answer your question, now it's a very interesting question. Now you're asking me to define something which is undefinable, but it's a very interesting thing. Obviously, everyone would like numbers. Now you said, can I say how much percent is my brain integrated?
3% generally says the book. People are using their brain, only 3%.
It's a very tricky question. Now, when you say that we use only 3% of the brain.
Just I heard.
Yes. There's some people say 10%, some say 15%. Now, what it usually means, again, I could be wrong, any other psychologist could correct me if I'm wrong, but that understanding is basically to see that an average integration of the brain at a current time. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so say if you take 10 minutes, हर एक second में brain का कितना ज़्यादा integrated तरीके से काम कर रहा है, you measure that out and you average it, you get to something like this number, And obviously we want full development of our brain. We don't want anything less than 100%, right? So who will settle for less? But the beauty is that if the meditation is being done on a consistent fashion, there is a consistent improvement and development of the brain. Every month there will be more increase, and this can be easily measured. It takes a few minutes. Close your eyes, meditate, and check the brain integration. Open the eyes, check the integration. Maybe play a game or check the integration during activity. Finished. And 10-15 minutes, and then you put every student through it, and you can create a report card. And so, as this report card will say, how much every student has improved across time. And so if this made part of the curriculum, and you measure, as they meditate, how much more integration has developed across time, you will say that this is, okay, the student has not just meditated, we can now see that he has consistently improved across time. And this is what, you have both a very systematic fashion. You don't have, you would like to have tests on meditation and this and that, that's a different question altogether. But even without that, just their meditation, just put their EEG and measure that, and you can know what is the improvement which is going on. So both these two things together, we can measure the changes, and this will be a very exciting thing for the student, because they want to say, I have improved. Everyone wants to see, they don't just want to do कि भाई मैंने बस कुछ पढ़ा है या कुछ किया है. They want to say कि I won or not, or how much better I am. And this can be now quantified. Again, we are quantifying an unquantifiable. कुछ न कुछ तो करना पड़ता है.
Actually, very easily we can experience, like those who are meditating.
And we need to wind up next.
Sure.
We'll take this offline.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for this discussion, and thank you so much for Rishi Good and all the team. It's such a beautiful thing that we'll be able to present about the consciousness-based education over here. And thank you for all your patience. I know it took a long time to get the whole thing prepared. Thank you.